What's up, everybody, and welcome back to the aftermarket. I noticed that a few of you have been asking me questions about the G70 or the Kia Stinger, and I realized that not all of you have actually purchased this car yet. So I wanted to do a video and kind of go over really why I absolutely love this car, very happy with the purchase, and why I would purchase it over some of its competitors. So just to start out, I'm going to start off with the obvious. I clearly love the looks of this car. I think it is one of the best looking cars on the market for this price range. So when you're looking at this car, you're looking at, for a fully loaded G70, you're looking at between 45 to 50 grand. I was able to get about 44 out the door, and I had a little bit of negative equity from my previous car. It's a lot harder to do that these days, mostly because of the general shortage on inventory. So you might end up paying a little bit more, but even if you end up paying, you know, what they're asking now, which is really, you know, 53.5, sometimes mid 50s, I really think it's worth it. So when you look at the market and cars for that price, you're going to be looking at, you know, let's say the Infiniti Q60 or Q50. You're going to be looking at maybe the 335 BMW, cars in that range, the Alfa Romeo. And really, when you look at what they offer from a performance perspective or a tech perspective, they really don't add up when it comes to what the G70 offers. So for example, if you go get a $45,000 BMW, you're getting about stock 258 horsepower compared to the G70 that comes with 376 stock. If you look at the Alfa Romeo, again, you're looking at about 290 horsepower. And again, all these cars can be modified and do much more power than they come with stock. But if you're a guy that's just looking for a stock quick car, the G70 really beats all of them in terms of performance. And really, when I think about the looks of the car as well, they're all pretty boring looking cars except for the Alfa Romeo. The Infiniti is dime a dozen. I hate to say it, but on the road, it is a boring looking car unless it's modified. It really is dime a dozen. They are all over the place, especially in beautiful South Florida. I'd really say the only sedan that I think outdoes this car in terms of looks is the Alfa Romeo. I personally have a 1979 Alfa Romeo Spider that my dad left to me when he passed away. And, you know, that thing gives me enough trouble without another modern Alfa that probably would give me even more trouble. So you do have the option of either the G70 or, of course, the Kia Stinger. So if you want a look that I think is a little bit more classy, a little bit more luxurious, you're probably going to go with the G70. If you want more of a tuner look, something that looks a little bit more speed racer, that's probably the Kia Stinger. So it is nice that for the 3.3 V6, you can kind of get the best of both worlds. It depends on what you're looking for, and I think that's a huge benefit. So I think the first thing that we talked about is just looks. I think this is one of the best looking cars on the market for this price and in its segment, which would be considered a performance sedan segment. So next we'll go to performance. So I spoke a little bit earlier what kind of went in the look section, but from a performance perspective, you're really not going to find many more cars that offer this level of power or tunability for the money. Again, the Alfa Romeo can be tuned, the Infiniti can definitely be tuned, and so can some of the BMWs. But what you're getting from them stock is a lot less than what you're going to get from the G70 or the Kia Stinger up front. So you do have to be ready to spend more money, and when a lot of these dealers want more money than the G70 or the Kia Stinger for that stock car, I personally don't think it's worth it unless you're just chasing the badge of BMW or Alfa Romeo, because let's be honest, an Infiniti badge is nothing to brag about these days. So again, from a performance perspective, I would say that's probably my second reason why I absolutely love this car. For those of you that know, this car is getting to the point where it's completely full bolt-on. I do have an ECU coming in from a new sponsor that I'm going to talk about probably in another video. And then we should be approaching around, you know, 470, 480 wheel horsepower and 530 to 540 wheel torque. And that's a pretty impressive number from a car that, again, for me, came in at basically 44 grand out the door, brand new. And I expect it to be pretty reliable. If you look at, you know, some of the owners with the Kia Stingers or the G70 that have modified these cars and have kind of pushed the limits of the stock turbo, they're doing pretty well. There is an issue with the transmission when you start getting to the 600 wheel horsepower range, but I don't think that many of us are looking to push that car that far. Personally, if I wanted to go above where I'm going to be at about 500, 550, I would probably look at a B58, you know, either the new Supra or jump into an M340i. I probably wouldn't big turbo this car. I wouldn't push it that far and spend that much money on what I think is already a great $45,000-ish car. So I don't think it's worth it to go past that. But again, I think from a performance perspective, you're really not going to find much better bargain than the car you're looking at right now. So again, we talked about looks, we talked about performance. So I'm going to go to the more techie side of things, and I'm going to go to the interior. So again, I'm just going to switch here. If you look at, you know, the Kia Stinger versus the Genesis G70 interior, it's very clear that what they did with the exterior, they matched with the interior. So when I say that, if you look at the Kia Stinger interior, I think it's more tuner. It's not as luxurious. It has pretty much the same tech, but it's definitely geared towards a different market. My interior is a little bit dirty, but I think this interior definitely says luxury. You know, you've got the quilted diamond seats, nor my Gatorade there. You have all the tech you need. Heated and cooled seats in the front, heated seats in the back. They do not have the cooled seats or the ventilated seats in the back. But overall, I mean, when you're inside this interior, it does feel luxurious. Me personally, I use it to transport some of my pets. You can see I have a cover back there to protect the seats. But again, it's a very nicely appointed interior. I really can't say that I have many complaints about the interior at all. So I think, again, for a sub 50 grand car, it really impresses a lot of people when they get in. I don't think that they expect Genesis to look quite as good as it does. And, you know, that's kind of what you want from a car like this. You want it to kind of exceed expectations, and the G70 does a really, really good job of that. So, yeah, I mean, I'd say the interior, I'm not sure that there's many cars out there for the budget that are going to impress you more than this interior. Alrighty, and so now kind of for my last point, I think we'll talk about you know, kind of the more fun side of things, which is, you know, how does the car drive? How does it feel when you're driving it? And is it the experience that it's trying to offer, which is a blend of sporty and luxurious? So again, I think I talked about the interior already. I think it's pretty clear if you've been in one of these cars, it does nail the entry-level luxurious segment. You're not getting like Bentley level or, you know, BMW 5 Series level luxury, but again, you're not spending anywhere near that type of money, so you really shouldn't expect that. So from what I expect out of this car, I expect it to drive comfortably, I expect it to feel tight, to get a little bit of steering feedback as well, and when I want to get on it, I expect it to move, and I expect it to move well. So I think you guys have already seen my videos, you know that this car does move very well. One of the things that I definitely recommend when you get this car is to do the exhaust. It is so quiet when it's stock, and I think that was pretty disappointing for me, but at the same time, I was planning on modifying the car, so it wasn't really too big of a deal. There's also a little bit of a misconception that the 3.3 twin turbo V6 cannot sound good. I think what a lot of owners do is they end up going the route of a lot of other cars they may have had previously, which is basically straight piping it and expecting it to sound good. This is not a car that you want to be straight piping. You really do have to think about, you know, how the car is going to sound under load. You know, any really Hyundai V6 tends to be a raspy engine, so you do want to think about how you're going to control that rasp. For me, I have an exhaust video that you guys have probably already seen. If you haven't seen it yet, go back to that. You'll see that I think I found a pretty good balance of having a nice sound without having a lot of rasp, and I really don't have much interior drone at all. You'll definitely hear the exhaust right now in this video, but the way that it comes through the cabin is pretty nice. I don't think it's obnoxious at all, and it really doesn't drone. It's just a nice, solid sound. So again, if you're looking for the car that can be modified, still be comfortable, still offer you a ton of tech, this car is going to do it. And then from a performance perspective, I mean, this car moves pretty handily, which I'm going to show you a little bit of here. As you can see, I mean, it sounds great. It really is a fun car. The twin turbo torque is pretty intoxicating. And there's really more to get out of this car still. I am still on JB4. Sorry for the sun coming through here, guys. I am still on JB4, and I have that tune on the way. And I think that's really going to take things to the next level. But I still do recommend the JB4, especially if you're not kind of planning to push this car to the absolute max like I am. The JB4 is going to be more than enough to get done. You know, if you're just looking for that little bit of extra power and to have some fun with it, JB4 can definitely do that for you. All right, guys, well, I am back home, and that is it for this video. I did want to give a little update. I did end up ordering a set of Continental rears, so I'm probably going to just be selling these Kumos because they only have a few thousand miles on them, but they just can't handle the power that this car has now, and that the car is going to have with this new ECU tune coming in, and on E40 and E50. So I had to get rid of them. Did have a little bit of a disaster with the wheel well here, which I'm going to show you. So basically what happened when I installed the intercooler, for some of you that follow me on Instagram, when I installed the intercooler, one of my buddies helped me out. We ended up being up till like 5 a.m. doing the intercooler, which you can see down here, doing the intercooler and the charge pipe injection kit. And I guess we were so tired, we forgot to actually bolt back some of the retainer clips at the bottom under the front lip, which basically holds the under tray for this car. So what ended up happening is that the under tray fell down specifically on this right side. As I was on the highway, I was actually on a little bit of a road trip about 250, 300 miles north of here. Under tray fell down. The wheel well here ended up just completely pushing out towards the tire, and then basically the tire, as you can see, roasted a nice hole in this plastic wheel well. And then the under tray down here is just completely falling down. So that unfortunately also broke a clip right here. So not too impressed with myself on that one. Definitely should have been more thorough. That mistake ended up costing me about another $400 for the under tray and the plastic wheel well. But good thing is I'm going back to Rod Speed to get the rear tires done, and they're going to go ahead and install the new under tray and wheel well for me. So don't be an idiot like me. Don't make that mistake. It was something stupid. I would much rather have that $400 back so that I could put it towards something on this car. But I guess it's a word of warning to you guys, and hopefully you guys can be a little bit smarter than me when you modify your car. But other than that, haven't really had any issues when I've been modifying it, and the car is looking good, sounding good, and I think it's ready to perform on the strip in a couple weeks. So as usual, guys, if you like the channel, please like and subscribe. I am actually planning to be featuring some cars other than my own. I'm going to be doing an interview, drive along with a Bag G70 that is local to me. He has a 2.0, so it's definitely a low and slow build, but I thought you guys might enjoy that. And I'm also looking to interview a friend of mine with a 600 plus wheel horsepower B58 Supra. So like and subscribe, stay tuned for that. It's going to be a lot of fun, and I'll talk to you guys soon.